All right.
All right. I'm Steve Harson.
Steve.
Okay.
Let me give you the go ahead. We're live.
Okay. I'm Steve Harson. I'm the director of the Grand Marais Public Library, and we have today a panel to talk about Pokemon Go. You might wonder why we're doing this in the library. Well, the library is a place where you can come and get information, and for people who are just starting Pokemon or who have questions about Pokemon Go, I would encourage you to come to the library and to ask one of us. Some of us have been playing the game now since it came out, and we might have the knowledge that you need. You might learn it here today. If we don't have that knowledge, we'll find it for you. Also, we have a gym just outside the front door of the library. So if you're finding yourself at the gym while you're playing the Pokemon Go, you might find that there's prizes in the library relating to the gym. And we're going to be doing some promotions in the library as we go along to make it more fun for people. So with me today is Patrick Knight, Lyndon Blomberg, and Pat Campanero.
Hello.
And each person of one of them has a topic that they're going to talk about. And I'm just going to turn it over to Patrick. He's going to talk about what is Pokemon Go and the history of the game and what you need to know to get started. So, yeah. Patrick?
Well, Pokemon is a game that came out in 1996, and I got the first Game Boy version very shortly thereafter and played it religiously for about 3 years. And then, I hadn't touched it again until, July of this year when they released Pokemon Go. And Pokemon Go is a game developed by Niantic for iOS and Android devices. And that basically just means smartphones in layman's terms. It's a free-to-play game, which means that you don't have to pay anything as long as you own a phone and have like a service plan. You don't have to pay anything extra to get this game. It's just something you can get and start playing. Yeah, we can skip to the next slide.
And when did it come out? Just 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was, I'm not sure the exact date, but July of
so just a couple weeks ago.
Just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. One of the really cool things about this game, this is the second game, but really the first really popular game to be a location-based game. And what that means is to play it, you actually have to move around in the real world. If you weren't moving, if you're sitting on your couch like we've all been playing games before, nothing would happen. So that's one of the really cool things about this game is it gets people moving around and enjoying the outdoors or the very big indoors, I guess. Another really cool aspect of the game is it's one of the first popular games as well to implement augmented reality. And what augmented reality is it's the world as we know it with a layer of either graphics or sound added to it to make it more than what we're used to. So what the augmented reality does is lets us walk around in the real world and have this added layer of like these imaginary characters that we can interact with in actual space. So when I hold up my phone at some point in the game, I can see, maybe sitting right there's a little Pokemon character or things like that. So augmented reality is a really cool thing that we're going to start seeing a lot more of, I believe. Things like GPS or maybe information about the area that you're in as you're walking around will start showing up more and more. And one thing that people might confuse this with is virtual reality. And virtual reality is actually kind of replacing the real world with a totally different world where you put goggles on and you're no longer in space anymore. You're in something totally different. Augmented reality just adds information to the existing world. I just realized I kind of skipped over a lot of what Pokemon is and the history of Pokemon. So Pokemon is a game where you are introduced to this world of Pokemon by this guy called Professor Oak, and he's basically like a doctor who studies Pokemon, and he wants to catalog all the Pokemon. So it's kind of like bird watching, or like, I don't know too much about animals, but it's kind of like figuring out what are all these animals. Let's figure them out and get them cataloged and know all the information. So he says, here's this device, and it allows you to basically take a picture of the Pokemon, and it tells me what you've seen and information about it. So your job playing this game is to go out and find as many Pokemon, as many different species of Pokemon as you can.
Actually, I think bird watching is a pretty apt analog.
Well, I know we've got a really avid bird watcher over there, so I might have really insulted him just now. But that's how I think of it.
Tell us, Patrick, what do you need to play the game?
What you need to play the game is just a smartphone with cellular or Wi-Fi connection and GPS. So these are all the things that you need to play the game. Android or iOS smartphone. Let's go back one. Internet connection, Wi-Fi, 3G or 4G, and then you need GPS location service enabled on your phone as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then talk about setting up your game.
Yeah. So to set up your game, I've got some notes here because this part's the kind of complex part and somewhat controversial part. Setting up your game, there's two ways that you can join, and basically you have to create an account. You can either do this with a Google account or what's called the Pokemon Trainer Club account. And Google has recently gotten a little bit of flack for, or I suppose not Google, but when you sign in to this game using Google, you're giving them access to a lot of your Google information, like your contacts, your phone number if you've given that to Google. Any of the information Google has, if you sign in with your Google account, Niantic, the developer of this game, also has access to that information.
Just a quick question here. Who here has used Google to set it up?
Me.
I have.
Okay, and I use the training club.
Yeah.
So
I guess I am not that worried about I keep all of my banking information out of Google. I've been very clear about that, in my mind, and talked about it with my wife. Let's not put any of our banking information on there. But other than that, I'm not that concerned if Google knows how old I am or where I go. If you are, you definitely want to use the Pokemon Trainer Club option when you log in. Or another way around it is to just create a second Google account that's only for games like this or other services like this where you have to sign in, and just create an account for that and use it when you're using things like this.
And Patrick, don't you think it's important to suggest that the first thing you have to do is download the app?
Yes.
Yeah, download the app on the App Store.
Yeah, setting up the game, download the app on the App
I'd just
Store.
like to say that the reason I chose Google to download my app was just because I felt probably quicker than creating an entire new account. All I had to do was sign into my email, and then I was ready to play. So it was more of like
and that's true.
Yeah, it was just easier.
It's the convenient
Yeah, the
option.
convenient
But with
option.
the convenience of the internet is not free. Mm-hmm. What'd you say, Josh?
Stop looking at the screen.
Okay. Yeah, the convenience of the App Store, or the convenience of Google, is the reason that I use it. But I know that convenience comes with a price, and that price is some of my information going to advertisers or whoever else.
But I would suggest as you download the app, one of the things you're going to find is that they give you this information. So you're going to be asked, do you want to do Google or do you want to use the trainer account? And they explain those kinds of things. So they do walk you through that whole process, I thought, fairly well.
Yeah. I've included in the YouTube, if you guys are watching on YouTube or if you want to go home after and look this up, I've included a link to an article that describes how to go through the setup of both of these types of accounts and the reasoning by why you would pick one or the other.
We could also post that document at the library website and on the Facebook page too.
What's next?
So talking about how the game works.
I just want to interject real quickly. Everyone who's here and anybody who wants to show up, if you're watching live and you have time to walk down to the library, we are doing a $25 Google Play or iTunes gift card giveaway. So everyone sitting in the audience right now is eligible, and you just have to give your name to Patsy, and she'll put it in that bucket back there. And at the end of this event, we're going to select winners for people who put their name in the bucket, people who've shared the event on Facebook, and people who are participating in our live stream question segment. So at the end of this whole thing, we're going to take questions, and I'll be monitoring who's talking to us online, and we'll get your questions then if you are out there. Okay, so now we can jump into how the game works.
How does it work?
Okay, so Lyndon, do you want to talk to us about how you're going to find a Pokemon? What's the goal? What's your goal?
Yeah, so the goal is to find as many species of Pokemon as you can, and then either evolve them or power them up so that you can put them in gyms, which are located all around towns and stuff like that. And I'll get into like actually the mechanics of that later. And then you choose. There's 3 teams: Mystic, Instinct, and Valor. And you choose one team when you get to level 5 after you've gotten to a certain level, and then that's the team you try to represent in gyms. And teams can take control of gyms by beating other teams, and then they have their Pokemon in there as like kind of proof that they own that gym. And then if another gym wants to take it over, then they have to come and battle those Pokemon in that gym.
So just for the heck of it, what color is everybody here?
I'm yellow.
Which is Instinct.
Team Instinct.
So disappointed.
I'm blue. I'm Mystic.
Yeah.
And I'm red, Team Valor.
And I'm red too, Team Valor.
Let's get some applause for Team Yellow.
No, Team
No,
Valor.
All right, what are you?
I'm Mystic blue.
Who's Mystic?
Yeah, Mystic. There you go. That's right. Thank you.
And Steve, what's
Team Valor. Come on, guys.
Valor.
And it turns out that in Grand Marais, most people seem to be the red team, Team Valor.
Yeah.
Rock.
But so I've been talking with some people on the blue team. I'm on the yellow team. I've said that we need to form an alliance until we take control back. So. then
Keep
it's
talking,
like a man for
Patrick.
himself.
Just keep talking.
Okay, so
Okay.
back to I wanted to interject a little bit about the goal. A game like this doesn't, to me, there can be a goal of getting all the Pokemon, but I really think the goal is just to have fun.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, get exercise. See all. I mean, I've to be honest, been in stores that I didn't even know existed in Grand Marais because I'm not a tourist.
Yeah.
So,
Finding Pokemons
yeah.
in stores?
Yeah. Well, exploring the place that I live.
Yeah.
I didn't,
I've noticed that, my wife really likes to go on walks, and that's like kind of our constant battle. Oh, I don't want to go on a walk. I've lived here 20 years. I don't want to walk around, and I've seen it all.
Yeah.
But I've been dragging her out to go on walks now that we've got this game to play.
And there's a lot of evidence right now showing how much weight people are losing simply because they're walking that much more looking for their Pokemon.
Yeah,
There's pictures on the internet now that are amazing.
Yeah, the first week I played, and the other thing about this is only counting the steps when my game is open. So most of the time, really, I'm not playing. I might play like 45 minutes a day. But the first week I played, I walked 50 kilometers playing the game. That's crazy to me.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That
So-
is, wow.
Well, I'm going to admit to being really focused and really crazy and very goal oriented. I just go to where the busiest places are and the hottest prospects, and I just go there over and over and over again. And
Yeah.
I've really cleaned up. But
Yeah.
I probably am missing out on some of the cool things in town,
Yeah.
and probably also some of the exercise.
Yeah, I've taken trips out to the lighthouse and back in the woods, a few places. So no, it's really fun. Sorry to jump in there.
No,
Lyndon.
no, of course. So,
Oh, I had this. This just is for the goal. This is my character, Patrick Knight, there, and I'm at level 17. I just wanted to share basically what the game looks like. So, in terms of the goals, the two things for me are catching as many Pokemon as I can, and as you can see here, the blue squares are. Josh is telling me that nobody can see this, but the blue squares don't count. I mean, the blue
You
squares.
haven't caught them yet.
Yeah.
I haven't caught those yet, and those are my goal is to make all of these turn into little characters. So it looks like I have, several hundred more to catch.
You've got 71 out of 72, it says.
Yeah.
oh, scene 72.
He's caught 71 and saw 72.
Yeah.
So I missed one.
Yeah.
So Patrick, can I just mention that my daughter is watching this from
Yeah.
the booth, and she said, "Why does he keep looking to the left?"
Oh, I'm sorry.
So she can't see that.
Yeah.
People that are watching can't see that. So you might want to just explain
Right.
that
Yeah.
character or what.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm showing on the screen, and unfortunately we don't have the capacity yet to share our screen on the live stream, but we will be adding that screen to an edited video later. So what I've shown so far is just an image of my screen and my character, and basically what you can see is the level that my character is at. I'm at level 17. I don't know, do you know if there's a maximum level?
Yeah, someone actually, I was just reading about, recently hacked the game and did it only as an experiment to find out what the max level was, and I believe it was level 40 or 50. That's as high as you can get right
And
now.
another thing I would say is I got really focused on just catching Pokemons and not doing some of the other things. And so I've already got 250 out of 250 Pokemons, but I'm only at level 14.
Yeah.
So I've missed opportunities to go up levels
Yeah.
by being so focused on that.
Which means that you'll, in result, have lower level Pokemons. Well, you'll have a lot of them, but they won't
Right.
always be super high.
Yeah,
so
I had to start throwing them away.
yeah, you can't use them in gyms always. But
Yeah, and then the other thing I showed on the screen is just basically my collection as I can see it on my phone of like what I have and what I don't have. So
Okay, so go ahead, Lyndon.
okay, so
these are kind of my notes I had. So what we have to talk about is another aspect of the game is getting experience, and experience happens when you catch Pokemon, when you power them up, when you evolve them, and when you hatch them. So do you want to talk about that? a little
Yeah.
bit?
Tell us how to catch one.
okay, so in order to catch one, you there is a little bar in the lower right-hand corner that shows you what Pokemon are nearby you. If you have caught one before or seen that kind of Pokemon before, it will give you a little animation of it. And if you haven't, then it will just be it will give you the shape, the outline, but not the actual
Color.
color animation of it. It goes in order from closest to farthest away, and you can kind of use that to, if you're looking for one in particular, walk one direction. If it gets farther away on the list, that means you're going the wrong way. So it's kind of almost like a little scavenger hunt, really. And once you get close enough to one, you have a little pulsing ring that comes out from you in the game, that is. And when you're near one, it will pop up on live animation on your screen, and you can then go into, as Patrick was talking about before, augmented reality. So your camera turns on then, and you can actually see the Pokemon kind of plastered over the real world, and it's like actually there. So if I move my camera this way, then I won't see it, and if I move it back on it, I will see it. So that's kind of really cool. And you take your then you'll have a Pokemon ball at the bottom, and you hold it down and wait till a circle will kind of go over the Pokemon, and wait till it's at the smallest point, and you toss the Pokemon ball and try to hit it. And it is definitely possible to miss. I miss a lot.
I miss a lot too.
Yeah. And also the color of the ring,
Green or yellow?
yeah, green, yellow, orange, or red kind of shows how hard of a Pokemon it is to catch. You can sometimes hit the Pokemon, and it will start to catch it, but then it will break out. One pro tip that you can use is you can go into your item bag, and if you have any raspberries, which I think you unlock at about level 7, you can use a raspberry, and that will make the Pokemon easier to catch the next throw.
It has seemed to me like, though, you want to do that as quick as you can. So, like, as soon as the raspberry disappears, you want to get that Pokeball
Yeah, you
thrown.
do, yeah. Because it has a little heart animation, shows that it's all happy.
The other thing I've seen is that periodically they just turn into a cloud of smoke and disappear.
Oh, that has definitely happened, and sometimes, and there's nothing you can do about that, they'll just escape. Yeah, they just leave, and then you're like, darn it, because then you don't have that Pokemon.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I can talk a little bit about the items. These are the items in the game. Sorry for the people at home. So the items that you get in the game are Pokeballs, incense, eggs, lucky eggs, lure modules, incubators, bag upgrades, and Pokemon storage. So those are 8 things, and I'll cover out what all of those do. The Pokeballs, you start out with, I think, 50 Pokeballs when you start a game, and those are a finite item. Each time you throw one at a Pokemon to try to catch it, if you miss, you've wasted that one, and now you're down to 49, 48, and so on. So
They won't last long.
yeah, they don't last very long. So what you can do is you walk around in the real world, and in town here, some of the places you can go are like the Johnson's, that mural on the side of Johnson's, or the post office, the YMCA.
The Bear Tree.
Bear Tree Park.
The
has a couple,
sculpture in
yeah.
front of the Johnson Heritage
Yeah.
Post. In
Yeah.
front of the Dairy Queen, there's a little sculpture.
Yeah. So you'll go to these areas with your phone, and
They're called Pokéstops.
Pokestops.
Yeah.
And you'll tap on the Pokestop on your phone, and it up pops the Pokestop. It'll say where you are, and then you kind of spin this bar.
Yeah, explain that a little bit, because that was hard for me to figure out. I was like out of Pokeballs before I figured out how to do that. So the Pokestop comes up. It's a round thing, and there's a little round medallion that tells you what it is.
Yeah, it's like a little blue.
So, for instance, at the Bear Tree in Grand Marais, it says the Bear Tree, and it's got a picture of the Bear Tree.
Yep.
And what you do is you swipe your finger across it, and that little medallion spins.
Yeah.
And
then
as
it'll,
it
like,
spins, it throws off
Throws out
prizes.
items that you can use, like the Pokeballs. or
Pokeballs
something
and
different.
incense and things like
Yeah.
that. So that's actually a really critical piece that you need to know right away in the game, or you'll run out of Pokeballs and won't know
Yeah.
what to do next,
Yeah.
like I did.
So yeah, if you run out of Pokeballs, you can't catch any more Pokemon. So it's kind of game over for you at that point until you've been able to check in somewhere and get some more items.
Yep.
The other thing you can do is use incense, and that will attract Pokemon to you as you're walking around. It'll make them show up more often.
And
Um,
incense is another thing that you get at Pokestops.
Yep.
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 Or when you level up. You can a lot of times get a lot of these when you level up. So that's more incentive to level up, actually.
Yeah.
Otherwise, besides just bragging rights to your friends.
Yeah. Eggs you get at certain points in the game too. You can get them at Pokestops, and eggs are the part that I think really motivate people to walk. You get an egg, and then you have to incubate that egg, and the way that you incubate it is by taking,
You have to walk 10 kilometers.
Yeah, 10
Yeah,
kilometers.
sometimes 5,
Yeah.
2.5. It changes depending on the egg, but yes.
Yeah. So like you'll put an egg in your incubator, and then it won't hatch until you walk 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, whatever it told you at the beginning.
But I have gotten 2 eggs from Pokestops,
Mhm.
and that was what taught me what good things they are. So
Yeah.
then I went and started incubating
yeah,
them.
Yeah.
seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
They're good.
The other thing
Oh,
you can
tell
get
them what
is,
happens when an egg hatches.
you tell 'em.
All right, so when an egg after you have walked whatever distance you need to hatch that egg, you'll get a Pokemon, usually a higher level than one that you could just find in the wild. Not to mention a whole bunch of little Pokemon candies for that specific Pokemon that you can either spend to evolve it into a new kind of Pokemon or just make it more powerful.
One of the things I'm going to point out right now is a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, like, it's just a really, there's a lot of different moving parts of this game. So I don't think we can do it justice trying to explain it in a video like this. You do have to just play it and ask
it out.
people to
And I
help
would
you.
say is just by hearing about it, you're going to go in and play the game and things will start happening. You'll go, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Or I
And it'll
recognize
be
them.
fine.
I recognize them saying that earlier. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But it's helpful to just kind of almost explore and just click all the buttons. Really,
Yeah.
see what everything does.
So where are we at?
Lucky egg?
What's a lucky egg?
A
What's a
lucky,
lucky egg?
okay, so a lucky egg is an item that you use, and it lets you, like, any of these things that you're doing, you'll get a certain amount of points. Like, if you catch a Pokemon, if you evolve a Pokemon, if you hatch a Pokemon, all of those things give you a certain amount of experience points. And what a lucky egg does is you'll get these every time you level up. It allows you to double how much experience you get for those for a limited number of time, a limited amount of time. So the people who are like really serious about this, they'll kind of play all of their, they'll do all of these things within like a 30-minute window, because that's how long the lucky egg lasts. So you'll go out, catch a bunch of Pokemon, and get this all to line up with you walking really far and hatching all these things within a 30-minute window, and that gets you a lot more points than you would get if you were just playing without strategizing that much.
Just like how you wouldn't want to use incense, which is the stuff that attracts Pokemon to you when you're sitting inside somewhere.
Right.
You want to use it when you're walking around to maximize the amount of Pokemon that you'll get because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Your next topic, though, is lure modules.
Yeah.
Explain how those work,
Let's
because I
save
had
that
an
for.
experience with that.
Do we want to save that for when Pat's talking, or do you want us to talk about that a little bit now?
Well, let's
Pat?
talk about what they
Talk it
are.
a little bit more, and then I'm going to talk about how I think businesses might want to use a lure module.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what a lure module is at those Pokestops that we described earlier. Pokestops are, again, the places in the real world that you can check in and get more items. And what a lure module lets you do is attract Pokemon to a specific place, and anybody who's playing the game can benefit from that. So like, it doesn't just attract them on my game; it attracts them on everybody's game to this one place. So it's a way for friends to like share.
And it's really cool how they work.
Yeah.
So at the Pokestop, when somebody's throwing a lure out there, you see it's like a shower of like hearts and ribbon and things coming off of it.
It's like there's a big party going on there.
And last Sunday, I got really lucky. There's a place in town where there's 3 Pokestops really close together, and you can be kind of in the middle, and you can get to all the Pokestops from the one spot.
Yeah.
And all 3 of them had a lure on them, and they were just I got like 30 Pokemons in like just a little while.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I'm going to have to go for a walk with you.
I also, this is just kind of about like how you can play with your friends. They are planning in the future to update the game so that you can actually trade Pokemon with friends, and that just reminded me because you're saying how everyone can use that same lure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you'll be able to trade Pokemon, which I think will make the game a lot more interesting.
Yeah. I think we can skip those last two. I mean, they're pretty in depth.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you have to really save up for those 2 items, or if you want to.
Why don't we name those 2 items for people who didn't see them?
So
Incubators.
A bag upgrade, basically, it lets you keep more items on you at one time. You can only carry so much.
Yeah.
So in real life, so they've made it like that in the game.
Your Pokebag only holds so many items and so many Pokemon.
And then,
you can.
And when it gets full, you either have to get rid of some things, or you can find a bag upgrade, and then your bag's bigger, and you can get more in it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then storage?
yeah, Pokemon storage is pretty how many Pokemons you can have, because you can have multiple of the same kind. And I actually haven't reached my limit. A lot of times I will get rid of them if they're not good enough. You know what I mean? Pretty quickly. But I know some people have problems with that. They'll run out of storage for their Pokemon.
Also talk about the incubator.
Oh, yeah. The incubator, well, we were talking about eggs earlier. The incubator is the actual thing. You always have one incubator that can be used as many times as you want. Plus, you can get extra ones that only have a certain amount of uses on them that you can use the egg in.
And you put the egg in there, and then after you walk so far, that's what hatches.
That's what
the egg.
hatches, yes.
But Patrick, wouldn't you say the important thing about this whole conversation we've been having here, it sounds complex, but in reality,
It's very simple.
It works step by step by step, and you're able to figure it out.
Yeah, a lot of these things are introduced at levels, so you don't get it all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what I mean?
And
You
it's-
start off pretty simple and kind of
And
work
you
your
ask
way
your
up.
friends.
Yeah, ask your friends too. Seriously.
And it's pretty
Or
intuitive.
Google
Yeah.
it.
Or Google it.
Yeah.
Or ask your library.
I can't see the picture.
That's what we should have said.
Yeah, we can just ask.
Ask the
talking about
librarian.
So Steve, are we? You want to
So-
talk about gyms?
I'm gonna talk about gyms. Yeah.
Lyndon's going to talk about gyms, and then we're going to move.
And we
into-
talked about how to find a Pokemon and
Yeah.
how to capture one, how to get more Pokeballs. So yeah,
Pokestops.
talk about the gym.
So a gym.
And because we have a gym right outside the front door of the library.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's actually the old Gunflint Trail sign is what it's actually marked as. But yeah, it's just right out there. So a gym, as I was talking about before, you can battle. You have 2 different moves. You have a special attack and an attack. Attack does a little bit of damage. A special does a bigger amount of damage. You just do a whole bunch of normal attacks to charge up your special attack bar, and once it's all the way charged up, you hold it down, and you'll do one big attack that has a lot of power. Also, when you're in the ring with another Pokemon fighting, you can swipe both directions to dodge their attacks coming onto you. And it really then becomes a game, if you play right, of who has the most health, or if you're really not doing well, then it's a skill. But it's CP is CP stands for combat power, and each Pokemon has a different CP, and that really pretty much is health. It's also really cool because you can have the same type of Pokemon, but some have different attacks and stuff, so you always have to be wary about that when you're deciding which one you want to keep.
So like some of the Pokemons who are guarding the tower might be more vulnerable to an attack by a flying one or by one that has poison or something.
Yeah, so there's different types of Pokemon as well. Fire, water, electricity. Boy, what else? Grass, rock, fairy. And some are more vulnerable / less vulnerable to other types when fighting in gyms. And that information can all be probably found online. There's a lot you can read. I'd also like to point out, this is a kind of a cool fact, that different Pokemon can be found at different times. So at nighttime, not only does the entire world on Pokemon kind of darken, I think it's after sunset, I believe, but more night type Pokemon come out actually. So that's
bats.
bats, yeah, a lot of gall bats.
Yeah,
Zolbats.
and I think
Zolbats, yeah, that's
also like as the seasons change, we'll see different Pokemon.
That'd be
too.
cool, yeah. I know also find a lot of water type Pokemons. I'm pointing that way because Lake Superior is right there. But
Yeah, and
a lot
I've caught some in the
yeah,
water.
You can definitely catch water type Pokemons near the water. They spawn there more. That's cool.
One of these days soon, I want somebody to take me to a gym and show me how they do that.
Yeah.
Because so far, I've tried it like 3 times and I just get slaughtered.
Yeah. You need really you need to really power them up and evolve them before you can even kind of begin to compete. I remember I was with my friend David, and we both tried a gym for the first time, and we kind of just stuck in our worst Pokemon just to see what happened. It lasted about 6 seconds. It was
That's what happened.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, Steve, you want to talk a little bit about the health benefits, and the family activities?
Yeah, if you look around town, if you look around Grand Marais the last couple weeks, you can see lots of like parents and children walking around together catching Pokemons, or grandparents and grandchildren, and groups of people working together. I've noticed that there's a boyfriend and girlfriend in town who are catching them together, and there's a lot of people playing it. This summer is like marked by people looking at their phone as they walk around. Because it involves walking, it's family activity, it's touted as having health benefits, and that really seems to be a goal for the creators of the game, is to get people moving. And I think that's a worthy thing. And it's also fun.
It is really fun. And also, I'd like to say, I think not only with your family members, but you can meet friends and stuff like that. I know there was a Snapchat story that involved people in like Central Park, New York. Central Park was just packed with people, and people were just like meeting friends. A married couple who are, they're not married yet. They're planning to get married. Who met like right when Pokemon came out, and they met playing Pokemon Go. So I just thought, you can just, it almost builds its own community right there out while you're looking.
Well,
for
and
them.
it's possible to do things like from a distance. So I have a 9-year-old grandson in New York, so we play and chat with each other online about this game. So it's added another dimension to that whole being way far away as a grandparent relationship.
And also the concept of the team is kind of cool. So like in Grand Marais, it seems like more people are on the red team than on other teams. So you kind of like, when you're going along, like I was at a gym and there was other people that were on the red team there, and I'm like, oh, cool, and you get to meet them. But it also provides opportunities then for like the yellow and the red team. If they don't have as many, then they can make an alliance with each other and gang up on red players. So
Not actually.
yeah, it's not like there's going to be a rumble in the park.
Yeah,
but in terms of like trying to capture the towers and
Yeah.
to take them away from the red, the gyms and those things.
It's a really interesting way to look at it makes the game that you're playing like really it's a great way to experience your community if you've done it all. It's a great way to do it all
Well,
again.
I've had a lot of fun. So a little bit like Lyndon saying he'd been to different stores, I got to know a lot more of the landmarks, because most of them seem to be pegged to like public art installations around our community. And like you can go find things. And then there's just other places where there's lots of traffic, like
Well, there's some weird ones too. I actually haven't found one like this, but online I saw a picture, and it just like the Pokemon stop was titled "Trash Can." It was just a trash can, and that was the Pokestop. So some of them are kind of weird, but yeah, a lot of them are really cool.
Sometimes you wonder about the developers of the game
Yeah, it's-
and what their ideas were when they started putting all these Pokestops in.
Or it's crazy to think that someone actually had to travel to Grand Marais to actually like find all of these. Wouldn't you think? No.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that they're pulling some of these stops from
other apps.
and
Yes.
different
yes.
Like maybe
maps.
Foursquare or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
A lot of this information is online that they probably pulled
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a lot of controversy now about why not me? Everybody wants to be a Pokestop,
Right.
and
Oh,
there are so few.
businesses, yeah.
Well, and Pat, you're economic development, so talk about how businesses.
Okay, well, about 5 days after Pokemon hit the street, I got my first article about how businesses are using this game to draw new customers into their business. And I found it fascinating. And I thought, absolutely, as you guys talked about it, you see whole bunches of people walking around downtown, looking at their phones. And as a business owner, I say, What can I do to get that player into my business? So I started doing some research on this, and there's lots of success stories out there right now that show that businesses have increased business, sometimes by as much as 75% over a weekend, by coming up with some very creative ideas to bring that group of people into their store.
Such as some of the ideas.
Some of the ideas is this bar, for instance, launched a 10% off discount kind of thing. So you come in, if you catch a Pokemon in their bar and you can prove that you did it, they're going to give you 10% off on the next pint of beer that you might make. A pizza place in New York actually increased their business 75% over the weekend by putting in a lure module. We talked about that just briefly before, but lure modules would allow a business to buy using Pokemon coins this module, put it nearby their business, and then on social media and on a lot of other online resources, tell other people, come here, look for this Pokemon. When you catch it, I'm going to give you a bonus. I'm going to give you a discount. I'm going to let you do something within my shop, like power up your device. Because one of the things we didn't talk about is while you're running around doing all this, it's a big battery drain.
It is,
It
yeah.
drains it fast.
Big battery drain.
You gotta have like 2 chargeable battery packs with you to plug in. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you're going out for a day or at least somewhere to stop.
Yeah.
So a lot of businesses are actually becoming a power stop
Right.
and saying, come on in, power up your device, and while you're powering up your device, have an ice cream cone, have a slice of pizza, take a look at this book, at these books that I have on my shelf that you might be interested in it. There's even a yoga shop in New York who decided to become a power stop simply because they believe so much in community, and they wanted more people just to come into their space, learn about yoga, talk to each other, and share experiences, as we were talking about the community angle. So that was a really cute one as well. Some of the tactics businesses have used is create a Pokéstop promotion. So find it and say this particular business says, after visiting the Pokéstop near the Stone Eagle on Broadway, walk 3 blocks south and fuel up for your next Pokemon Go adventure with 20% off an iced coffee. I mean, you can do things like that that are pretty easy. But this lure thing is really an interesting thing. Buy a lure, buy a second lure, put it near a Pokéstop, advertise it. They're only good for 30 minutes, and you're going to generate a lot of activity. Many of those people are going to look up and say, wow, that's a Dairy Queen. I'm going to go in and have a Dairy Queen, perhaps, or something like that. This really takes creative.
I just wanted to add to what you're talking about. I know folks at home can't hear this, but my daughter in Duluth just said that she heard that a bar in Duluth gave a free burger to people that had reached a certain level, like level 10. So if you came in and you could show that you reached that level, they'd give you something.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And actually, the sky's the limit.
We're going to
What
Duluth.
businesses have to do is put on their creative thinking hat and try to figure out how they can make a hook that actually makes people come in. One of the ideas was the fudge shops around here. Why not create a Poke Fudge of some flavor that's something special? There's lots of things businesses can do that way. But I really wanted to start out this, and I didn't and should have. You've got to play the game. If you're a business owner out there and you want to capitalize on this, you have to understand the game and you have to play it. So my advice is download the app and start playing the game before you get excited about trying to lure any customers in, because true Pokemon addicts are going to ask you the questions, and they're going to expect you to be able to dialogue in some of these things that we've been talking about here.
And in regard to some of the things that you said that businesses could do, I would just encourage, the library is a perfect place to use as a charging station. It's a safe public space. We have lots of places that you can plug your charger in your phone and you can recharge, and there's other things to do while that's happening.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what we're looking for. So if I had to just summarize this whole thing up, download the app and play the game if you're a business. Find the game pieces or Pokestops near you and design a promotion around it. Lure them in with some type of special lure and give them a reason to buy. And then measure your success. As a business owner, this sounds really good, but there's some pushback in the business community right now saying, I don't get it. These people are just in my way. Why are they on my streets? But if you start designing some promotions and you're able to measure your success, you can repeat that success, or you can change the idea. And what's going to be in the future, expect new versions to roll out. You've got to be on top of this as a business owner. And here, like in Australia, it might be a better winter game. Because what they're saying in Australia right now, which is their winter down there, is that the businesses that typically don't have a lot of business in winter are putting in lures and doing a lot of other promotions around this game, and their business is up. So perhaps in the winter, we'll see a little bit more activity around this as well. But it's really think creatively and tie this whole thing to what your core business is all about.
Your point about other versions of the game is well taken. There's already Pokemon Platinum in planning, and other versions of Pokemon something or other are in planning to be released.
I think that this game has been a much larger success than the developers were anticipating, and because of that, they are working really hard right now to figure out what do we do next and what's coming. But they're definitely going to be doing stuff because it's hugely popular.
Yeah.
And if I could add one more thing, if you are a business and looking to put in a lure, Patsy has uploaded a document onto the library website that takes you step by step through on how to do this. Because
On Facebook right now.
oh, it's on Facebook.
On the Grand Marais Public Library Facebook page.
Thank you.
No, yeah, Niantic has really. Is that right?
I call it Niantic. But
Niantic, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really kind of made itself its name in especially in like the iOS, Android gaming industry, I'd say, like, especially because of this.
This is
They're a
location
subsidiary,
about the money
they're a
it's made.
subsidiary of
I mean,
Nintendo.
people are gonna. Really now people are gonna buy their games whether they're good or not. To be honest, well, fingers crossed they are good, but I mean, yeah, it was such a huge success that there's almost stigma around the name now.
Patrick, you want to talk about how to stay safe while you're playing the game?
Yeah, some of the things that there's been a lot of like things that have happened because people are playing this game and maybe not paying attention to their surroundings, or maybe following the game where the game wants them to go without thinking about the repercussions. So some of the things that are happening is people watching their phone and walking right into the middle of traffic. I don't know if all of these things are true, but I heard that there's two gentlemen that walked off the side of a mountain and fell down. I don't know if that's true or not, but a big part of how to stay safe is don't walk and look at your screen at the same time. You know, if you're looking at the screen, stop walking and make sure that you stopped walking on a sidewalk or outside of the traffic area.
Yeah, and I know in the new update, they added this thing to the very starting loading screen that says, "Do not trespass," because
Right.
that ended up being
Be
a problem.
safe.
Yeah,
You get several kinds of
Yeah, you
Do
messages.
get
not do not do it while you're driving.
Yeah, it says, "Do not drive while
Well,
you're driving."
and there's a good point. The driving thing is a big deal. If you're trying to do this and drive, it's not safe. But more importantly, you don't get credit for the miles because you're moving too fast, and they've
Yeah.
got a thing in there that keeps track of how fast you're moving.
you can't
and
hatch
if you're
your eggs
going
when
if you're going faster than a good walk, it doesn't even register it. And some of the Pokemons don't show up, and there's other things. So it doesn't really pay to drive. You might think like, "Ooh, I can get between the Pokéstops quicker," but it doesn't really pan out.
Yeah.
You're better off just to walk it.
It's all about walking.
The other thing to think about in terms of safety is not just you like getting hurt by a moving object or running into something, but I've also heard that people are using those lure modules to lure people into remote areas and then like rob them or so.
They
Be
lured
care-
somebody into an alleyway and beat them over the head and took
Yeah.
their phone.
Yeah, so think about what go if you're playing this late at night, go with a group of people and don't go anywhere that seems
Shady.
yeah,
Frankly,
like where
shady, yeah.
people can't see you well
Yeah.
lit.
I think the big thing is just think and
Yeah.
be safe. So it's also true it's not safe on a bicycle because you're riding your bike and look and then boom, you're in traffic and you're in trouble. So just be safe.
So, just a quick recap. We've kind of covered that Pokemon is just a massive success right now. Pokemon's a game that you are searching to catch as many Pokemon as you can, and you can
Battle
do
them.
you can level them up and train them so that they get stronger, and that allows you to in turn catch more Pokemon. You need a smartphone with internet connection and GPS capacity to be able to play. An Android or an iOS smartphone
And a charger.
and a charger. That's a good idea to have a charger.
Bring your charger with you.
With you, yeah.
We talked a little bit about how to catch a Pokemon. Basically, you just throw a Pokeball at it with your
You get good really quick.
Yeah, you do get good. Yeah, practice makes perfect in this, definitely.
Yeah, and we think that it's a great way to motivate people to get out and be a little more active. So one of the things we wanted to do now, if you guys don't have anything you want to jump in,
I'd like to say one last thing is,
Yeah.
if you watch the Grand Marais Public Library Facebook page or the grandmaraislibrary.org webpage, you'll see the library from time to time announce various promotions that we're going to undertake in the library, and there might be little things that we offer that could be attractive to you as a player. So keep an eye on those two pages.
Pat, do you have any?
And I would like to say that I'd like to thank the library for pulling this off, because I think this is a very valuable and fun thing for our small community to do. And Good Measure Media, Patrick's company, who is live streaming this, is also a real service to the community, because you can go in and look at this a little later and repeat the important stuff.
Yeah,
This has been fun.
thank you.
So,
And Lyndon to share his expertise
Well,
playing.
yes.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to do it.
Yeah, well, at this point, we wanted to just open up for any questions that anybody might have about the game, or anything that we've discussed this evening. And I'm going to start watching on the screen. If nobody in the audience has any questions, there's a few questions on here
From the live streaming.
from the live stream.
Does anybody else have a question? That's
I do.
shoot.
You talked about needing some portable power sources to keep going when you run out. What about if you have a relatively modest data plan, is this eating that up as you
Oh,
as you
yeah.
go?
The-
No, I actually disagree. So far from what I've experienced, I obviously thought it was going to be a huge data waster, and it definitely uses data, but from what I can tell, it hasn't used that much. More battery than anything.
What's been the data waster for me is that the game crashes.
Oh,
And
really?
I'm impatient, so I just delete it and I go download it again and start it
That
over
would
again.
definitely-
and
yeah.
it does.
That
It
would
works.
choose
If you do that, it gets it rebooted and boom, you can go again. But if you just wait for the game to resolve its problems on its own, it takes a while.
It's
So
best
my
on-
provider is really regretting it that I have an unlimited data plan, because I have probably downloaded that game 30 times.
It's best to just maybe restart the game as opposed to deleting it and re-downloading it.
But-
It's also better on newer phones.
I can't give you a number, but this game is not sending video or audio to your phone. It's just sending information that's already it's communicating with the server
yeah.
about just numbers. No pictures are being sent back and forth. So I'm assuming that this is not going to use much more data than your general emails would use.
and I haven't read anything about that.
Yeah, it really hasn't.
Do you have an unlimited data plan yourself?
I have a 5 gigabyte a month data plan.
5 a month.
Yep, and I have not come anywhere near using it. But
Yeah. no.
Then-
6 and
yeah.
Then it's not a data hog.
The actual number is 0.01 gigabytes an hour.
0.01 gigabytes an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're
Good
doing
news,
it,
thank
that's
you.
all it all
And that's
is.
barely anything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
practically nothing.
Yeah.
So it's super cool. I like that one. What is the difference between the teams? And I actually know the answer to that. So I'd just like to tell, kind of
Real quick. So the question that
yeah,
Lyndon is answering is from Victoria Margitova, and she's asking, what is the difference between the teams?
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah.
I'm red.
No. So there's Yellow Instinct, and that one is kind of. I mean, they all have there actually really is no in-game differences. I mean, a lot of people hope to see that in the future, but as of now, it's kind of more ideals, I guess you could call it, principles. Instinct is kind of more about the instinct of the Pokemon, which makes sense. Valor is all about fighting, the actual battling of Pokemon, and Mystic is kind of about studying the evolution of the Pokemon. So that's kind of the idealistic.
Right.
Yeah.
But to be clear, those have no effect on the game.
No effect on the game.
at this point.
People would like that. Oh, also you can customize your avatar, if you will.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that earlier.
Yeah.
But I thought-
Get
And
your
you can pick your
uniform
own name
colors.
that you might use
Yeah,
out
pick
there.
your own name.
Yeah.
Pick your.
What's your name?
My name is Patrick Knight Jr.
And what's your name?
But that might be, I don't know, you don't have to say, because this is a,
Oh,
that might be
The
private.
boat's captain, except the O is a 0.
And I'm Colonel Colville.
How you Pat?
I'm surprised.
And I'm
that wasn't
Deer
taken.
Yard.
Dear.
Deer Yard.
I'm surprised that wasn't taken.
Yeah, so let's see, do we have anything
We have another
else?
question in the audience.
Are all of the lures found in cosmopolitan areas?
All the Pokestops, yeah. I mean, yeah, I have seen For the most part, I've gone. There was like one on like a lake axis near my house, which was kind of weird, like a boat landing, like a small boat landing. So that was kind of random. But for the most part, yeah,
I would say at this point, there's about 2 weeks ago when the game came out, there's a huge demand for people who wanted to have their business or for whatever reason a location that they wanted to be a Pokéstop. And Niantic, the company that developed the game, had on their website for a short period of time, I don't know if this is up anymore, but a form that you could request a space. But I would say that generally before that, all of the Pokéstops are based on landmark information from maps like Google Maps or things like that. So they are all
But it is a
popular
little
places.
bit weird because you would expect to have a Pokéstop by the library, and we don't have one. On the other hand, we have the gym.
Yeah.
And then there's other places where
Like
why would you have a Pokéstop at
Well,
a garbage can?
Exactly,
But
right.
there they are.
I do know 2 businesses in Grand Marais. I know Best Fudge and Gifts has a Pokestop, and Spend and Always both have Pokestops.
And Severson's Art Gallery is a Pokestop.
oh
Yep.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the Beaver House,
Yep.
Yeah, there's-
Java Moose.
Beaver
Yep.
House has
Yep.
both a Pokéstop and a gym.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say that as of yesterday, you can go on and start asking that Pokestops be made by your business. There's a new form out there on the net that we could post on the Facebook site. I'll get it to Patsy. But the disclaimer is there are so many people who want these things. We have no idea when we're going to get to them.
Yeah.
I requested one like the 3rd day that the game was out for the library, and it said right on their site that it would be weeks and weeks at the earliest that they would get to it. But still, you've got to do it.
Yeah,
yeah.
or not? Yeah.
We've got one more question here from Rose Ingebrigtsen, and the question is what is the plural of Pokemon Pokemons?
Pokemons.
And the answer is no. The plural of Pokemon is Pokemon.
It's like deer.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not. It doesn't have the S.
Nope, it's
Nope.
just
But if you
Pokemon.
write it in your word processor, it throws an S in there.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's,
Yeah, I don't know.
your word processor's wrong.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, we're gonna have to write a letter about that.
Yeah. So, and if people in the audience don't have any more questions,
Oh, there's one back there.
Hartley.
It's not so much a question, it's a comment. If I hadn't have run into Patrick the first time that I was out playing, I came to a Pokestop, spun to get prizes. These things popped out at me, and I just was watching them on the screen. I thought, well, they've come to me.
Yeah.
They're gonna come. I'm just gonna get them.
Yeah.
But luckily, Patrick was there, and he said, "No, you have to."
Yeah, you have to tap on them when they come out at you.
So-
I wouldn't have known.
Or another pro tip: if you just hit the X button, you get them immediately. Like they just go to you, and you can tapping them is like fun. But I guess
You guys, I got here a little bit late, actually very late. But have you guys covered curveballs?
No.
we didn't.
Doran,
yet.
come on up.
Do it, man.
Ooh, all right, let's hear something new.
Here, take my seat.
Okay.
Jeez.
For somebody that
Doran said-
actually doesn't have the game, I know way too much because I just fandom, you know.
You like respect for the game.
So tell us about a curveball
Yes,
then,
it tells
Doran.
you.
Curveball. Well, I mean, correct. You hold down the ball for a second and just spin around,
spin it around
on your phone.
and then what you
And
do?
you throw it at an angle.
Oh yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I didn't realize I was doing that. And sometimes it goes off crazy, and I didn't know
it gives you a little
why.
bit more XP
Yeah,
once
we'll
you've
give
actually
you
got the Pokemon.
More
So-
points, more experience.
Oh,
Harder to
great.
hit though. Very hard. Yeah, a lot harder to hit.
I'm gonna sorry for.
Thanks, Doran. Doran Cero. All right.
We can do the drawing right now. So has everyone in the audience got a chance to put their name in the bucket? And what this is for is a $25 gift card to either iTunes or Android Play Store.
So should I put Rose's name in there? Was there any?
Oh, we're doing online
The
as
online
well.
one's
So,
separate.
so the bucket is only for people in the room right now. So has
So we
everyone
have
everyone
one
gotten a
drawing for
chance?
people in the room, and one we're drawing for people who are live streaming.
You guys can both go if you want.
Okay. Well, there's
You're in there? Okay. So Patsy, do you want to?
the gentleman.
Let's let Anita do
Oh,
it.
okay.
Anita, why don't you draw?
Having somebody draw. Here we go. One gentleman left, so we'll see. Oh,
Oh,
look who got it!
Rio Tear Stick. Come on.
Rio won it! Yeah, dude!
All right.
Perfect.
All right. Rio, I'll get you that when we're done here, okay?
Rio, do you have an iOS device or an Android?
Android.
Okay, there you are.
and
We
how
got you
many
covered.
Pokemons have you collected, Rio?
I don't play the
Oh,
You will be now. Looks like Dad's ready to play.
yes. Come on, David. We
Well,
can get
yeah,
you in this.
you'll be able to use that card for anything you want. You don't have to play the game. So, yeah.
Awesome. Sweet.
All right. So I'm also gonna do a drawing. We have for the online. I haven't done this before, so I'm just gonna use a dice. We have less than 6 people. So there's 3 people online. So I'm just gonna do this in my head, and you'll have to trust me that I'm being honest. I'm not gonna give it to my
We
wife.
trust you. We'll monitor you.
All right, so I'm gonna. Okay, so 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Rose Ingebrigtsen gets
Oh, sweet,
gets
Rose!
a
Good.
gift card.
Congratulations.
All right. Hopefully, Rose, if you're still watching, congratulations. You'll have to let me know if you want the Android or the iTunes card. There's one more giveaway. That was a Facebook giveaway, and I'm going to do that real quick. And again, we're going to go 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Grandma.
David Blackburn.
Hey, David.
All right.
All right.
All right. Cool. Well, unless there's any more questions, we're going to wrap this up.
All right,
That's
great.
about it.
Anybody?
Thank you, everybody,
Great,
for
yeah.
coming tonight.
Enjoy playing. Collect as many Pokemon as you can.
Yeah, be safe.
Be
Yep.
safe.
Be
Thanks,
safe.
thanks everybody.
Thank you.